I should have played Zelda music? What song do you think this is? So, hello. You know, I haven't. This is the one thing I've been wanting to do this whole past week, and I couldn't because I was busy doing other stuff, or low ink, or other stuff I'll talk about. So I'm gonna take the opportunities when I can, alright? How far am I? I got 4 hearts. Not far at all. How many are you at right now, Shads? There's no way you're at 35. I mean, I guess you guys should probably be close. This was your 32nd one. How about when you guys win it, you'll be on the Popcast? Finally, got a horse. Thimble Hop's different somehow. Really? It's your first time being here? I feel like I'm kind of surprised. I feel like I've seen you here before. Or maybe it was one of your fellow Bostonians. If you're wondering how we're able to seed out of top 32 into alpha and beta as quickly as we do, it's right here. I got everything placed out, so whatever team finishes, so like the team that finishes in A3, I just write them in a certain spot. It's all coordinated, and I do it as soon as a match ends. So when like Group A is done, as we're waiting for the other groups, I can just go ahead and write in my book here where they're actually going to be, so that when everything is done, all I got to do is look at this sheet, and I can do this really quick. That's why we're able to start Alpha Bracket like 2 minutes after the final match ends. Why do I want to put it in a Google Sheet? Because I like pen and paper stuff. Have you, this episode number 177, pretty much every single one of these is actually typed out. The month that I'm on maternity leave from Low Inc, I'm going to have to share this with somebody so that they can do that just as quickly. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you are still mauling over people complaining about the kits of the new weapons that are being released, leaving an Internet Explorer emote on the Low Inc announcement post, describing a delayed quad as a soft wipe. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. If you don't follow JPEG on Twitter and you haven't been paying attention to Twitter in the last couple of days, good on you. JPEG recently tweeted out that his days as a Low Inc TO are numbered. Eventually, he's going to be stepping down and moving on to things outside of TOing, not just Low Inc, but I think just Splatoon in general. Moving on, just getting out of college, getting into the real world, other obligations. I won't speak for JPEG. I would like to have him on maybe at some point to do like an exit interview. And it's going to suck having JPEG go, but we're all obviously extremely happy. And we'll do more of a in-depth segment at some point when JPEG finally does hang up the TOing hat. But I just wanted to make that aware that we love JPEG around here. I'll do a statistic breakdown of how much Low Inc has grown since JPEG started doing Low Inc to where it is whenever he finally leaves. It's going to be pretty staggering how much growth took place under the JPEG era. And I do want to point out that the shenanigans that went on yesterday weren't a factor in that. That was something I was kind of aware of beforehand, and JPEG pointed that out as well. It's like, it's not because of yesterday's nonsense. The criticism and anything negative flung in the directions of the TOs, we're a little bit tougher than that. Like, we're not going to leave the community, oh, you guys this is the final straw. No, it has nothing to do with that. I just wanted to point that out, though, because that deserves some recognition, and we'll make sure JPEG gets a ton of recognition as they went out. If you guys are going to do like this little eulogy for me at Low Tide City when I'm not actually retiring, we should do a whole lot more of that for some TOs that are actually retiring. So we'll just something I wanted to point out. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. There's not really much specifically going on this week. There is a Proving Grounds on Friday and a Squid Junction on Saturday outside of the usual SOS. That's pretty much it. I mean, also the Apple Productions events, but I never really cover the paddling pool or Triton Cup that much anyways. Wanted to, this is the first time where Proving Grounds and Squid Junction are happening right next to each other. There's no desynced thing. It used to be, the problem is that we would normally do Proving Grounds last Friday, but I didn't want to do Proving Grounds and Low Ink in the same weekend. So that kind of screws up things. And also Squid Junction's usually during the Low Ink anyways. So just the awkwardness of March or April had, no, it was, I forget which month, had like 5 weekends where most months usually have 4. That kind of threw off some things. April technically had 5 weekends, which is kind of weird, and that kind of messed up some things. But who cares? You guys will play and stuff. Saturday, that's right. Splat World Championships is next Saturday. I forgot about that. I guess I know what channel that'll be on then, but I completely forgot. Today we are going to be recapping Low Ink against my better judgment. You know, how many TOs can you think of that will be one of the head TOs for a major event that receives some negative criticism and then will come on the next day, put my face out there, and talk about it? You won't find too many people that'll do that. Do I deserve a little bit of recognition for that? No, I was going to talk about it anyways, but it does make for an easy episode writing, as sometimes I do struggle to come up with content to write when I know I have to do a podcast. This one's pretty easy, though. We'll talk all about it and more. But first, let me just tell you how my weekend went. And by the way, if you want to leave some sort of, most of the regular idiots in chat know this, but if you're new to this and you want to actually acknowledge some of the things you put in chat, leave a highlighted message and I'll go back and read it and respond to it. Most of the times, especially as I just get into this, it's hard for me to focus on my script and pay attention to chat at the same time. So if you're new here, leave a highlighted message. I'll actually pay attention. The weekend I had started off with me traveling to visit some family in Arkansas this weekend. There was a family event. We had a wedding reception, and it was something I definitely did not want to miss. So even though it was during Low Ink weekend, obviously this took much more of a higher priority, and I was very much looking forward to this. The problem is Arkansas is 10 hours from my house here in Indianapolis. So a lot of driving took place this weekend. That's why we did the Popcast Friday Low Ink preview episode on Thursday, because I was going to be traveling on Friday. Friday, traveled about 7 hours, stopped at a hotel for the night, and worked on Low Ink stuff at a hotel. I've never in my life sat down at a hotel desk to actually do some sort of work before. I don't think I've ever actually sat down at a hotel desk for more than like 2 minutes, other than just be like, oh, this is the desk they put in this room. Pretending to do business stuff. No, I actually sat at that desk for several hours, finishing up Low Ink, doing some last minute verification, DMing some teams, and just some other last minute closing stuff. Saturday, spent some time traveling fully to Arkansas. Got to visit with some family. Did nothing as far as Low Ink is concerned. I even thought about, like, while I'm driving, as like staffing is taking place and check-ins going on, I could just sit in VC. But then I thought about the times when I'm trying to do, like, scramble a bunch of things, and there's this one jackass in VC who can't help and isn't going to help with anything. And I'm like, I really wish this person wasn't here. And I was like, my presence in that VC isn't going to help anything. It's best if I just leave it alone. Halfway through Saturday, after Low Ink has ended, I just had a little bit of time to myself, and I'm just like, I'm just going to check in on things. Usually if you just go to Twitter and type in Low Ink after Saturday. You get a good sense for how things were. Pull up my phone, look at Twitter, and I'm seeing things like the round didn't start on time. There's somebody's complaining about the sub that they had. Battlefy broke, and there's a team that's smurfing. And I just took my phone, and I was like, wait. And let's never think about this again. Let's just move forward. I'm sure it's fine. Saturday night, around 9 o'clock Central Time, is when everything wrapped up, and I started my trip back. Drove for about 5 hours into the night, stopped, slept for a couple of hours, got back up, drove 5 more hours until I got home. As soon as I got home, I was immediately in VC, ready to go and ready to take part in this event that I love and cherish all this time and all these years in Low Ink. If the first block of commentary that me and Brush did, that very first game, if I sound like I'm completely lost, dead out of my mind, that is why. I just drove for 10 hours and I had 2 hours of sleep. I didn't think it was going to affect me, but if you go back and you listen to that first game, I think it's Splat Zone's Museum, Dark Masters versus Ikarioku. That's the context behind that. As soon as I started commentating, I was like, whoa, I am not on planet Earth right now. But as we got going on more, I was like, okay, I'm starting to wake up and get in my groove. As soon as Low Ink ended, I might have talked in the staff chat for a little bit, hung out with my life for a little bit. I instantly took a 3-hour nap. Woke up at 10 o'clock at night, got my day going, got my steps in, took the dog out for a walk, and then went back to bed. So that's my weekend, getting a sense for things like that. When I got into the VC on Sunday, I was like, what actually happened here? Was things really that bad? Owen sent me this long list of very unusual and bizarre things that happened on Saturday that are, I don't know, I can't really define it because it's a bunch of things we've never really experienced before. Some things we have, and some things that just popped up out of nowhere, not related with each other. And it was frustrating because it's like, damn, this is the one time I'm not here and this all happens. But the more I think about it and I look through this list, that I'm gonna share some of this list with you guys. Me being there on Saturday would not have fixed anything. Like, I could have helped. I could have helped guide everybody through things with sharing my thoughts. But I mean, none of this broke because I wasn't there. So what all broke? Let's tackle some of these things. Now, some of these things I'm not going to share. Obviously, I'm not going to spill any confidential information that we go through. But some of these things that I can share with you guys, I will. So the first round of the tournament was delayed. I don't know by how much, and I don't really care to go back and check, but I do know it was delayed somewhat. That was because the bot that we used to seed and place teams into groups apparently broke down and started spitting out some really bizarre things. Some of the teams that we kicked out because they didn't have their splash tags were registered back into the tournament somehow because of the bot that we had. Let me back up a little bit. When you guys are done checking in at 12:30 Eastern time, the tournament starts 30 minutes after that. So in that 30-minute window, we are placing all 175 teams, minus how many didn't check in, into the tournament in those 30 minutes. We have to wait till check-in in so we know exactly who and how many teams to be placed into a group. We have a bot that works with our sheet that we place into different seeds. I tell you guys, alpha teams are 1s, babies, first low ink teams get a 5, and then it's somewhere in between. Apparently, the seeding for that got screwed up. Some of the teams that were signed up and checked into the tournament didn't get placed in the groups. It was just a lot of really bizarre issues that we've never had with the bot before. And apparently it didn't even seed them as well. It just kind of put them in groups. So eventually that got fixed. I don't know. But that was just a bizarre thing, bizarre technical issue that's never really happened before but it happened in this one low ink. It picked this month for things to kind of take place with that. Also, Battlefy decided that it just wasn't going to work this month for a little bit of reasons. I don't know exactly what, but for some reason, and I'll show you guys this. Is this the correct one? Here it is. You see this little thing right here. If you've ever TO'd Battlefy before, what this thing is how we are alerted if there's a match dispute. When you guys hit the match dispute button, this thing pops up. That's how we know that we click it, and then we get to you guys, and that's how we start talking. This match dispute you guys see right now is still active and cannot be closed by any of us. It's just a permanent match dispute that we can't get rid of. We've never seen that, and it's just going to stay there forever. Now, if we go to like a different low ink, it's just going to stay here, so it's not going to show up forever permanently in like for the SOS or Proving Ground or anything like that. And we're going to keep it. Like, we could probably contact Battlefy and be like, hey, could you close this out? We're going to keep it just as a reminder for this low ink. Like, this is how bad it was. We have a match dispute that is going on for 48 hours now and still hasn't been resolved. And again, why this one specific month? That happened along with our bots breaking down. It's just a bunch of unrelated, bizarre technical issues that are just going on in this one specific month. Oh. That was the issues on our end. You guys, though, not you guys being the idiots in chat, but you guys played in this event. Oh, you guys picked an interesting month to start having a hissy fit about some things. We had a couple of issues on your guys' end that are a little bit bizarre to us as well. First off, Smurf complaints. You guys know I've talked about Smurf complaints in the past. It's nothing new. We get Smurf complaints literally every single month. We take them seriously. We look into each one of them. We double check everything that we do. But 95% of the time when we get a Smurf complaint, it's nothing. It's literally nothing. And I understand you guys lose to somebody you've never heard of, or this carbon roller that you've never seen before comes out and drops a 20 bomb on you. You're like, oh, they gotta be Smurfing. And you send us stuff and we look into it and it's like, no. This time around, though, the Smurf complaint that we got seems pretty credible. And I'm not going to go in depth into it because we're still doing a little bit of investigation into it. But it appears as though, allegedly, yeah, there were some people possibly Smurfing in this tournament. That's happened. And there's this rumor floating around that this happens every single month. I can confirm to you guys, in the past year, like 12 months of low inks, we've had a grand total of 2 teams potentially Smurfing. One of them not confirmed, but it was weird enough to where we were like, no, we're going to pause you guys on hold. Like, it doesn't happen that often. Does it happen? Yes, it does. But it's not as often as you guys might actually think it does. Again, there's no prize here. You're wasting your entire weekend. And once you get caught, you're going to be banned, not from IPL, but other orgs are going to hop in on that and ban you as well. It's a splat safety violation if we wanted to raise a complaint with that. You're not going to see too many people Smurfing, but this one month, you saw it. Now, awesome job by the staff that were taking place with that. The team got caught. They didn't even make it out of Saturday. They got caught and eliminated during the Swiss round. That's something I don't think we've ever done. I don't think we've ever caught somebody and acted on it that quickly. So that's very impressive by the staff that took place of things on Saturday. And outside of that, I talked about this last month, how if you're a team and you need a sub, you need to take care of your subs. You need to be appreciative of your subs. And if you're not, if you're a jerk to the people that are subbing for your teams, those subs talk. That word gets around. And the next time you need a sub, you're going to see some people not be so eager to respond to your sub ping. Please, we don't want to drop for this tournament. We need a sub. Nobody's subbing for you. That's weird. There's a bunch of subs that are available. Maybe you should treat your subs a little bit better. Definitely treat your subs in a way to where you don't verbally abuse them in text form in one of the most monstrous ways I think I've seen in a long time. I'm not going to name names because, again, this is another thing that is still under investigation. But we had a total jackass verbally abuse a sub that took time out of their day to make sure that you actually got to play through the tournament. We're so upset with them, and we found out about it. And again, I'm not going to name names or leak information, but I will make this public knowledge because I want everybody to know this. That shit's not going to fly. You cannot do that. You absolutely cannot do that. It's not going to be acceptable ever. This is a tournament that is designed around brand new players getting into competitive. And so many subs that we get now have zero competitive experience because they don't have a team. So they sign up to be a sub, and this is their first experience, and you're going to treat them like that? No. So there is going to be some swift punishment put out like that. And if going forward, if you guys as subs deal with any kind of abuse from teams that you're subbing for, let us know. We would be more than happy to have a conversation with that individual because that's not going to fly with us. But again, this is the month that somebody decided to be an a-hole about that. Like all these things just happening in this one specific, this was just Saturday. These things took place. My goodness. Oh, and also on top of that, round one wasn't streamed. I guess because of the delays or Twitch issues. I don't know. Just, wow. Meanwhile, well, I'm at a wedding. Cheers. Jeez. Now, that's just Saturday. We're not even done here. We're still rolling along. We got Sunday here. We got Sunday, half asleep Pop Gun is now back, ready to help out on Sunday. We got a bunch of staff that are able to help place as well. We're locked. We're ready to roll. Nothing bizarre is going to take place on Sunday. We're going to finish this tournament strong. And then Bloodwalk had other ideas. So let's get into this. Let's talk about the lag fiasco that took place yesterday. Let's talk about the exciting topic of lag rules. Because as more people were reporting lag during the tournament, they were met with us saying, we don't have lag rules. We haven't had lag rules for like 2 years. We got rid of those things. Tap the sign. We ain't got any. And then you got a team that really pushed the boundaries of what you can get away with a lag rule. So let's talk about this. And disclaimer, there is no set right or wrong answer when it comes to lag rules. You guys might disagree with the things that I have to say right here. Actually, I know for a fact a lot of you are going to disagree with the things that I got to say here. That's perfectly fine. Let me finish before you start vomiting your thoughts out in the chat, though. You might see I got a good point. Or you might just completely hate altogether. Who knows? Why does Low Ink not have lag rules? Number one, latency is always going to happen in this game. There's nothing you can do about it. It's frustrating. You guys know I played this game competitively for 4 years. You guys have played against me in games before. It's frustrating. I know exactly what you guys are dealing with. I'm not unsympathetic to it. It's always going to happen, especially in a tournament like Low Ink. Not because we have over 1,000+ players, although that does cause a little bit of headaches in a bunch of other areas, but because we are a international tournament. This isn't like Proving Grounds where 99% of our teams are NA, or Paddling Pool where most teams are EU, or Squid Junction where most teams are NA, like that. This is a international tournament. We got teams from North America, South America, Europe, and Asia. We might have some teams from Asia. I don't really know. Australia is where we're coming out from. We got literally all 4 corners of the planet covered in this Low Ink. Every single Low Ink that we run. you're going to have some latency issues with those regions. When we did have lag rules, or I guess you should say when we didn't explicitly say we didn't have lag rules, 95-ish% of the complaints we would get of people coming to help desk were showing latency issues because you were an NA team and you were fighting somebody from EU and you couldn't connect with each other. That is the vast majority of the things. It's just teams from different regions not being able to connect with each other. So it just comes to this point. If you put in lag rules and you actually enforce them, you're basically just making this a region-locked tournament, because there's no way the teams from Europe and South America can compete with the teams from North America as far as like who gets the lag thing. NA always kind of takes the claims that they're better than that. It doesn't really have that many issues, even though it's not anybody's fault. We're as far apart from each other as you could possibly be. There's a giant ocean out there. Number 2. Lag complaints take a lot of time. But Pop Gun, I'll just show you this clip and you'll look at and you'll instantly recognize that this is something that needs to go in there. No. Lag complaints do not start and end in one singular clip. There needs to be a viewpoint from multiple different people, including people on the opposite side of the team, your opponent, if you want to make things actually fair here. If you're going to be acting on something, causing replays or kicking a player out, you need more information than just one individual player's perspective of things, because that doesn't tell the full story. And how do you even know that the person who's leaving the clip isn't the person that's lagging? How many times have you guys been in a scrim and you notice some, whoa, their carbon rollers kind of floating all over the place right here. But I'm not, it's a scrim. I'm not going to say anything. I got to get used to this because I'll deal with it in tournaments anyways. But their carbon roller's lagging. And then that captain DMs you after a game and they say, hey, just to let you know, can we switch hosts because you guys are lagging for us? Our carbon roller said that you guys were floating around, and we saw you guys floating around as well and teleporting. So you guys are lagging. Can we switch hosts? And you're just like, what? No, you guys are the ones that are lagging. And then it just becomes this Spider-Man meme thing of you two pointing at each other. So that's why you can't just look at one clip and be like, oh, yeah, that guy teleported. It's clearly that guy's fault that they teleported. But Pop Gun, what if you did a connection test? You could do a connection test on your Switch, right? That will tell you all the information that you need to know to figure out, well, if their speed's low and that other guy's speed high, it's obvious that that other person's lagging. Don't ever say that. Never tweet out the words connection and test or speed in test on competitive Splatoon Twitter ever. There are so many dead and buried TOs that built this community long before people like me and JPEG came around. That when I swear, all they do all day long is just search Twitter for those terms: connection test, speed test. And whenever somebody mentions it, they got this twit longer ready to go. They will talk your ear off about how stupid it is to use connection tests to determine who is and isn't lagging in a tournament. I'll save you guys the ear being talked off for you, because I've heard this conversation many times before from TOs that are long gone from this community. The TLDR is, though, and my Switch currently isn't connected to LAN. I still got my LAN adapter in my bag from LTC. If I pull up a lag switch connection test right now, and then I wait 2 seconds and do the connection test again, you're going to get different numbers each time. You know which one I'm going to screenshot and send to a TO if they ask for a connection test? It's grossly oversimplified with what I just explained there. But if you want to go more in depth, just put it out on Twitter and wait. Wait for a TO to respond to you. Connection tests are not the answers. Just take my word for it. So it's not exactly a quick fix. If you want a true lag test or a true lag complaint, you need to get more information, which means it's going to slow down the tournament for everybody, including especially a Swiss round where you got to wait for everybody to finish. Nope, sorry. Somebody got shot in the toe when they thought they were behind a wall. We got to spend some time looking at it in a bunch of other different angles. So what it is, if it isn't a quick fix, if it isn't a simple solution, what is it? It is a judgment call. That's exactly what it is. If you are a TO, the best rules you can have in your tournament are simple black and white rules. You can't use your alias. Hey, that person's using an alias. That broke a rule. Everybody can see that. When it comes to something like you can't squid bag in a tournament, that's a judgment call. And beyond who cares if you're getting squid bagged in a tournament, but to have an actual rule, how do you enforce squid bagging in a tournament? How do you know that somebody is squid bagging as a taunt and not squid bagging as a celebration because they're carrying the Rainmaker and they're trying to dodge ink? It's a judgment call sometimes. And how do you know they're not just, oh, I got a double, let me celebrate a little bit, versus, oh, they're squid bagging to actually taunt you and they're trying to make you feel bad. Some of that stuff's not as cut and dry. It's a judgment call. Same thing with lag complaints. They are 100% a judgment call. I can look at a clip and I could come away with a completely different experience than another staff member who can look at a clip and determine, hey, no, that is lag, or no, that's just latency. That just happens all the time. But what you have to do is make sure you are consistent if you're going to have lag rules. Because as soon as you make a ruling, somebody comes to help desk, all 1,000 players in that tournament are putting their eyeballs directly on that clip and they're seeing how you respond to it. And if you determine this is sustainable lag, we are going to rule in your favor. That other player has to come out. All of a sudden, all 1,000 players in your tournament automatically know where that line is. And all 80-ish games that are taking place every single round, I guarantee you, whatever the bar you set, they're now going to be looking for that bar in every single game, and your help desk is going to be flooded. Oh, well, okay, so you rolled on that. Well, a similar thing happened in our game. Hey, something kind of close to that happened in our game. Can you look at this clip as well? And before you know it, to be fair to the process, because you have to be fair to the process if you're going to have lag complaints in there. You can't just cherry pick what cases you look at. You guys have rules in there, case by case basis. You got to be fair to every single case by case basis you put in there. It's a lazy ruling to put that down, but you still got to follow that up. So you got to look at every single case fairly. And if you want to put just 2 minutes, and that's not enough time to make a fair job, but if you just take 2 minutes and you got 10 people putting lag complaints, everybody sit on your ass for 20 minutes while we look at this person's Twitter account. And it has to be a Twitter clip or getting it off of a capture card on your Switch. It can't be a replay. A replay does not show you what actually happened in the game. The replay is trying to recreate the inputs of what you did, and it also smooths out the camera a little bit to make the movement look more natural. So if you have lag in your game, yeah, it's going to show up on the replay, but it's going to show up as like the brain of your Switch melting, trying to reproduce what happened. And it's going to show you things that aren't 100% accurate. It's going to show you people flying off to go because their home world needs them, but that's not the actual thing that took place in the game. So there's a lot of headaches that go in with that. What other tournaments have lag rules, though? I mentioned there are some tournaments that just have that blanket statement of lag is handled on a case-by-case basis. That's vague, it gives you zero information to work with, and it just opens the door for wild interpretations of anything. Leads to lack of consistency. I did find one international tournament, and I didn't know this until this morning, that does have actual lag rules. Turns out Little Squid League does have lag rules. And I do actually like the way they describe it here. I'll read off the complete rule for you. Welcome to the Popcast, where we read rules for tournaments. Little Squid League's lag rule. In a situation where lag is seen, multiple players from the opposing team noticing the lag must try to screen record the lag and send it in for staff for further analysis. Here's the key indicator here. If there is less than 3 seconds of lag/delay in a player's death, then the complaint will be ignored. However, if it is noticeably excessive, then the opposing team may ask to sub out the player in order to avoid continuation of lag. So let's point this out here. Less than 3 seconds after the delay. Do you guys realize how insane laggy you have to be to pull that off? 3 seconds is a long time. I went back and looked at some of the clips. One of the more popular clips on Twitter, somebody did like a montage of them playing against Bloodwalk and the lag that they were dealing with there. Not a single one of those clips was 3 seconds at least. So according to my interpretation of this rule, and I don't work for Little Squid League, and I'm not bashing them or anything like that. I'm just using this as an example. By the definition of the rule Little Squid League has, what you saw by Bloodwalk would have been perfectly legal. Because those, yes, there's some delay, but it's not 3 seconds delay. It's like 1 and 1.5. Now, some of you really have nothing else to do today, and you guys are going to break down clips, and you're going to count the frames that it took from that Tri-Slosher splatting you guys to where they actually got splatted or something like that. And my counter argument to you is this. Count how long it takes you to actually count all of those frames that it needs to determine how long it's going to be. If it takes more than 5 minutes, how the hell do you expect TOs in the heat of the moment to make that kind of a judgment call based off of that? How are we supposed to break all that down? You got all the time in the world right now. TOs have a handful of minutes before somebody goes in Twitter or in help desk. When's the next round going to start? I've been done for 10 minutes. I 3-0'd my opponent. When's the next round going to start? We need to go. Sorry. We're counting frames here. It might have been 3 full seconds. Other than that, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know of any other international tournament that has lag rules. I don't think MIT does. Ink TV, if you DC the Ink TV, you don't even get a replay in that. Ludi famously does not have any lag rules. And Paddling Pool, I know. And Paddling Pool isn't even an international tournament. It's EU only. I know they have no lag rules because one of their staff members in the feedback channel, if you go to the Discord server and the Paddling Pool Discord server and look at the feedback channel, just scroll up a few messages, one of the staff members for Paddling Pool left this giant long message basically explaining why you are never going to see lag rules in Paddling Pool. And that's just an EU tournament. That's not even an international tournament. And they're so heavy, passionate against lag rules for a lot of the reasons that I spelled out right here. Look, I understand the frustration. Again, if I'm playing against an opponent and they're lagging and I feel like that's why I lost, the player in me is going to be pissed off. I don't blame you guys for being upset that Loink doesn't have lag rules. I don't blame you at all. And I don't blame you guys for being critical of us. And I've seen several tweets. Oh, it's inexcusable to have not have lag rules in Loink. It's named off like 5 or 6 excuses that I think are pretty valid, but that's just me. I don't want this to come across as like well, I'm the TO and you guys aren't, so I'm right and you're wrong. That kind of smugness isn't going to go over well, and it never will. But when you guys haven't TO'd an event, it's not that you guys are idiots, except for the people in chat. It's that you're missing a core concept here. How does this work from a TOing perspective? A lot of the feedback you guys will give is based off of just your player input, but you won't think about how things run from the TOing thing. When during the grand final set, when Secret Elixir and Bloodwalk played that game 4, Clan Blitz Scorch Gorge, our streamer DC'd from the lobby, which is another thing. Inkfair never DC's from a lobby. Just another, how does this even happen in this Loink kind of thing? They played the set anyways. And we're pinging them. We're telling them, you guys, no, stop the game. This one doesn't count. It's not going to count. They played it all the way through, though. The TO in me says, no, we told you got to replay. Just because you weren't paying attention doesn't mean anything. You got to replay that set. It doesn't count. The player in me, though, has to step in and say, if I was in that situation And I played out that whole set. And it was a huge back and forth game, a complete dogfight. We scratched and clawed and we won. And then I saw we got to replay it because the streamer wasn't in there. I'd be pissed. So that's why I kind of interjected and said, look, let this one count. It sucks for the stream. It sucks for that we don't get to see it. But the player in me has to take over the TO in me in that scenario. So me having these two different perspectives on things, I think helps make me a better TO. When you don't have the TOing experience and you only see things from the player's point of view, then yeah, you're going to be upset about things. And I don't blame you. But get out there. Do some other things with some TO. Think about how this works logistically. Because a lot of you leave feedback in our feedback forum and on Twitter, and you say, you need to have lag rules. But you don't say what lag rules you want. And you don't say how they should be implemented. And you don't say, here's what other tournaments have done with lag rules. You don't give any actual feedback. You just say, I'm pissed. Which I understand as well. Like, part of the feedback forum is just you guys getting an opportunity to vent. But you're not giving any actual helpful information because you guys don't know any actual helpful information. You just know that you're pissed off about lag rules. Understandably so. Now, let me give you some context because I just went on this big, long rant of why we shouldn't have lag rules in going forward in low ink. Let me bring it back here. Let me give you the but that some of you are probably looking for. The context for why I'm bringing all this up is because Bloodwalk had a player, a tri-slosher, and I don't feel bad talking about this because that player has been pretty open about, oh, sorry, I was lagging. Like, dude, just read the room. Maybe not completely humble brag about your lag a little bit. But as one team raised the match dispute and complained about the lag at the end of the top 32, we told them the same thing we always tell them. There's no lag rules. And then the team in Alpha Bracket raised the dispute. And then their next opponent did. And then their next opponent DMs me while I'm commentating, even though my status says don't DM me during a tournament. Even then, we're getting complaint after complaint after complaint, and everybody's saying the same exact thing. There is a rule in every single tournament that says this. TOs reserve the right to basically pull things out of our ass as we go along. After that many complaints, I got into a VC during the break before Grand Finals with JPEG and Hoenn, and we had the conversation. We said, look, there's clearly something going on here that we've never really seen before. This is a different kind of level of thing that we're dealing with. How do we deal with this situation? We don't have a lot of time to come up with a decision. And if we need to implement it immediately because this team's about to play in Grand Finals. The decision we came up with was because we didn't do anything earlier, it wasn't fair to start kicking this player out now, considering that doesn't help the other teams that already got beat. We felt like it wasn't going to be fair to everybody if this player got kicked out at this time. That is the full context. We let the player play. It goes through a Game 7 and is an epic Grand Finals. That is a judgment call. And now that you guys have the full context for that, be critical of us. Be fair. I'm not sitting here saying we made the right decision. I'm saying in the heat of the moment, when we got to make a call, when we need something that makes sense, that's the decision that we came up with. And I stand by that decision right now, and I always will. Every single judgment call we made this past week, and we had a ton of judgment calls we had to make, I stand by every single one of them. Because in the heat of the moment, when you got to make a decision, I think we made the best one that we could with that. It's still fair to be critical of that, though. It's 100% fair to be critical. And here's another point I want to bring up, and I tweeted about this earlier today. Because there was a lot of complaints on Twitter. And the announcement posts got a ton of thumbs down. A lot of thumbs downs. And some people interpreted that as, well, that's just how you never pay attention to low ink announcements. We get crazy emotes as well. I definitely took it as people being frustrated. And that's a good thing. You remember when Nintendo used to allow emotes into their posts. And then it got a little bit out of control. They got rid of the emote system. Remember when when you guys were going after Nintendo because they canceled Big House and they banned all of you in the server because you kept retweeting that copy pasta. I never want us to become that. I never want IPL to become something that thinks we're bigger than what we actually are. We're a grassroots tournament. We're not getting paid. We're just volunteers, and we're doing this because we love it. And that doesn't mean that TOs are free from criticism or that you can't come after us. It's the exact opposite. Nintendo is free from criticism. You can't go after them. That's why I refer to them as overlords. We are never going to be that. You guys have to keep us accountable. If you disagree with things that we do, that is a wonderful thing. And we should always be held to that high of a standard because you guys deserve it. You absolutely do. And I've as much as I love it when people pat us on the back and tell us how awesome that we are and like, man, we're so lucky to have you guys in this scene. At the same exact time, I hate it when people white knight for us. I hate it. I hate it when somebody's trying to be critical and then somebody immediately jumps in and be like, no, don't be critical of them. They're volunteers. They're doing this for fun. They're providing a service for you. Be thankful. No, hold us responsible for that. It's totally fine. You guys need to be critical of us. Every single TO in this community, but Low Link especially, because I'm sitting here beating my chest every single month, telling you guys about how we are the best damn tournament in the entire community. And it's funny because we ban most of the people in the community at this point. That puts us on a different kind of standard that we need to be held to. And I am 100% on board with that. And if there's some sort of issue where a TO can't handle that, there's nothing keeping you here. You're not tied down financially to this scene. There's no reason to stay if you can't handle it. I can. The rest of the Low Link staff can. And we appreciate that. Let people complain. Let people be frustrated. I see nothing wrong with that. Oh, gosh. A lot of highlighted messages. I don't know where the first one was. And somebody left a paragraph. I don't think I can't even scroll up so high enough anymore. Okay, so somebody left a highlighted message near the top. I just can't scroll that high anymore. Sorry. That's a good point. But so many complaints, players, evidence to back them up. Okay, you left a highlighted message, Kuzi, that I ultimately covered later. So I'm going to skip that. Best way to handle lag is to bring 52 back because Gal is lag backwards. You know, okay, so all honesty, the worst weapon to fight that is laggy is Tetra. A laggy Tetra is undefeated. There's no way you can kill that thing. Do you think letting that game count sets a standard going forward, like teams in the future will bring it up? Possibly. It's possibly. So when my team won Low Link, and JPEG remembers this, I did the same exact thing. We played game one of our set that was going to be streamed, and the streamer wasn't in there. And I was like, I'm not icing out my players. I'm going to play. So I totally get that. But yeah, I definitely could set a standard. But again, you got to make a judgment call in the heat of the moment. I still stand behind that one. Barring all of the other mishaps, the sort of situation were to happen again, how would you handle it? I don't know. This isn't an interview. That's the last thing I've been thinking about right now. Not me. I never mess up. Fair enough. Be critical and keep us accountable. Don't be a jerk. Yeah. Okay. So when I say be critical, don't make it personal. Don't cross a line. Like that's never going to be okay. First highlight was me talking about perma match disputes, saying we have a similar issue with Krill Streak because the Ichiu disputed match got lost in the void after. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I think it's hilarious that it's still there. It's been 48 hours. When is the TO going to get here and fix this? Oh my gosh, that took 50 freaking minutes. we got other things to talk about, like some positive things. Talk about what you guys were able to accomplish this tournament. So let's move right along. Next up, we have the weekly recap. SOS number 109 was won by Celestia. Second place went to Decay, because of course it did. Decay's always getting second or third place in every tournament they sign up for. The team that won last time, 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, ended up in third place. So a little bit of a glow up there for Decay. They're going to win one of these tournaments eventually. They're going to win a tournament at some point, unless they don't. Hammerhead was won by 3-4 Buckle Some More. Shouldn't that be 3-4 Shut the Door? 1-2 Buckle My Shoe, 3-4 Shut the Door. That's right. Mako Bracket was won by Squid Strikes, the team that won last month. And Lantern Bracket was won by Fish Ball. Congratulations to all the team that played in SOS 109. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by the Idiots in Chat. Hey, I've referred to you guys quite often as Idiots in Chat. The reason is because you guys are idiots and you are in chat. But I want you to know, you're my idiots in chat. And I love you guys. And you're probably saying, wow, he picked the shortest weekly recap to make sure we sponsor it. Yeah, well, maybe you're not as dumb as you look. The Idiots in Chat, the official sponsor of today's segment of the weekly recap. There was another highlighted message. Oh, yeah, sorry about the angry faces on your post. It was funny. What post? What angry? There's so many posts that live, whatever. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but apology accepted, I guess. Unless it's not. Let's talk about the winners. Let's try to get through all of this. By the way, 175 teams is the official number. That doesn't discount the teams that did not check in. And you guys got lucky because we're starting to be pretty mean towards teams that that drop immediately after the tournament starts. Well, how can you drop when the tournament never actually starts? So you guys got to get a bye this time around. But still don't do that, please. Let's talk about some of the winners from this tournament. And one thing I forgot to do was look up to see who has the highest opponent win percentage. And I'm going to do that right now. Someone's got 68. Someone's got 69. Does anybody got 70? 69.4. 69.4. Did three teams get 69.4? They did. So the highest opponent win percentage award goes to the Cosmic Cherries, the Smile team with the smile with an exclamation point, and in Group D, still with 69.4. Actually, four teams got it. Two teams in Group D had a 69.444 opponent win percentage. Bloodwalk and Ben Thick Brigade. We've all been there. So congratulations, you guys. In theory, you had the toughest tournament, and to my knowledge, every single one of them made alpha bracket to some extent. Most of them finished second place in their group. Nicely done. Let's give a shout out to the Gridco Workers Union. Let's start off the bat strong. These guys went 4-2. They got key wins over Yippee, the I wish I could read my hand right. Oh, it's the Swiggles. The Swiggles. The Luminors Kelpies, and Star Streakers. According to my sources within the CCA, I have been told that the Grisco Worker Union is the first Div 2 or below CCA team ever to qualify for Alpha Bracket. And if you're wondering what made-up university the Grisco Worker Union represents, it is the Worcester Polytech Institute. And don't tell me I mispronounced Worcester. That is literally how it is spelled. If you're going to tell me it's Worcester, like Worcestershire sauce, you are wrong. And even if you go to Worcester University or Polytech Institute and you're going to tell me it's wrong, No, I am right. This is my podcast, damn it. I'll tell you the name of the school you go to. Congratulations on making Alpha Bracket. Royal Succulents went 4-2, getting some key wins against Glowfish, the Splatsville Idol, the Grisco Worker Union, and Aura Warriors. We're going to be talking about Royal Succulents a little bit later, unless we don't. Possibly. Still, this is good glow up for Royal Succulents, which is a flower cactus, I believe, that is found out in the desert. This is a team that plays in Little Squid League, and they beat the Glowfish, so of course it's going to be a glow up for them. Star Streakers went 4-2, getting key wins over Remnants, Alliance Moon, Wavebreak, and the Meowsers. This is the first low ink for Star Streakers, although these players are experienced low inkers themselves. And Star Streakers seems like it's an actual team name, so we'll be seeing more of them in the future, I'm sure. The Conductor Cap Incorporated, sponsored by Octopi. Well, look at Octopi sponsoring two different teams in this tournament. They got to be out of money with all those sponsorships they're giving out. They went 5-1, getting key wins over Arcadia, Secret Elixir, Last Wish, Team Mid, and the Ink Blot Dropouts. Sponsored by Octopi. I believe there's some players, some crossover between some players there. But Conductor Cap Incorporated, who have that same kind of tag that whole group kind of uses there. Pick it up where Octopi left off in their wake. The worst team name that we have here deserves a little bit of recognition. The Reddit Moderators Union. The Reddit Moderators Union. They went 4-2, getting some key wins over Quack on the Beach, Inkling Daycare, the Ink Blot Dropouts. With a name like the Reddit Moderators Union, you got to expect this team to go 0-6, like most Reddit moderators do, but instead they stepped up and took charge of things. They went 4-2. Nicely done. Coco Rave went 4-2 in this tournament, getting key wins over Fractal, Bridge 4, Painted Aura, and Crab Rave. The two Rave teams somehow ended up in the same group, played against each other, and Coco Rave is clearly superior to a Crab Rave. I like to think that I'm a little bit too old to go to raves anymore. Not that I ever did when I was in my younger years. I'm still in my younger years, technically. But Coco Rave is clearly the kind of rave that I'm going to have going forward if I find myself at 1. Best result for them so far in this lowing. Tea Time goes 4-2 in this tournament, getting key wins over Arcadia, TikTok, the Reddit Mods, and Monsters Possessive Inc. This is the team that now has the best logo in low ink. I believe we'll see Tea Time's logo a little bit later in the stream. But Tea Time officially has the best logo, especially now that Boston Squid Party is dead and gone. But we'll still talk about them a little bit further. Tea Time made top 32. They did not make that last time. I believe they were a beta bracket team last month without a top 32 even involved. Smile! They went 5-1 in this tournament, getting key wins over Equilibrium, Kraken Squids, the Outcast Ninjas, the Jelly Squids, and Stars Align. What a glow up for Smile, who was playing in the gold bracket of Little Squid League number 29, this time around going 5-1, popping off in this tournament. Nicely done. Overtime. Wow, this is a huge result for Overtime. They went 4-2, getting key wins over Capybara Hokuchadala. I pronounced that correctly. Sharkbait, Artrinum, and CRAB. Man, they played a lot of difficult words to pronounce teams. They beat Crab. You'll love to see the glow up from Overtime. That was one of the teams I talked about in the preview. Doing really well in this tournament on Saturday, going 4-2. Squid Sushi went 4-2 in this tournament. They got key wins over the Jelly Squids, Arise, Death Road, and the Squid Sickles. I saw somebody sent me something where I think it was the Jelly Squids said I was preying on their downfall or something like that. Could it be further from the case? I love sushi. I probably don't like squid sushi, but I'm not preying on your downfall. I'm preying on your success, unless you're playing on a team that I like more than you. Inkception. I talked about how they played in their 25th low ink. this upcoming this length that they played in. Apparently, Inkvaders has played in a lot more than them, but still, Inkception went 4-2, getting key wins over Scarlet Ink, Fallen's Quids, Academy's Strongest Warriors, and Toolbox. They made top 32. I believe they actually made Alpha Bracket as well, so we'll be taking a look at them a little bit further. But nicely done, Inkception. Way to flex that experience that you guys have in this tournament. The Fallen X Squids. I'm assuming it's just pronounced Fallen Squids, but it's an X instead of an S, and it's an F that is hard to search and an X that's hard to search because it's like special calyx letters or something. So when I have to search for Fallen Squids, I just search for Allen, Allen. Thank you for being frustrating, but I'll give you a shout out here because you went 4-2, getting key wins over Wipeout, Saddle Up Seahorses, on SU, Ink Strikers as well. The Ink Strikers, very nice win, as you're going to see. Nicely done for this other team that usually competes in Little Squid League. Revelation went 5-1 in this tournament. They got key wins over Scarlet Fizzy, not to be confused with Scarlet Ink. We got a lot of Scarlet teams in this tournament, and none of them, I believe, go to Ohio State University. DC Suicide Squids, on SU, Bambustle Tongue, and the Undertow Darthfish. Revelation finished 5th in beta last time that they played in Low Ink. This time they qualified for top 32. The biggest winner from the Saturday stage, as far as I'm concerned, goes out to the dearly departed Boston Squid Party. They went 5-1, getting key wins over Lost Inklings, Pearl Essence, that Copy Marga team I couldn't pronounce correctly, Stars Align, and Feral Savages. They beat a team called Feral Savages. That sounds like the most disgusting, gross, feisty team to ever walk the earth. And the Boston Squid Party team eliminated them, or at least beat them. Nicely done, BSP. We'll talk more about you guys potentially, unless we don't. I don't know. If I don't, sometimes I forget the things that I write in the future. I loved having Boston Squid Party in our tournaments. I think some of those players are still going to play going forward, maybe not in the Boston Tea Party name. But you guys had a great logo. You were a good impact on the community. We stand you guys. Except for the one team that beat you on Saturday. They're better. Come on. Come on now. Get good, Boston Squid Party. And we're just going to, we're not having a guest interview with the screen. Maybe I should label these things a little bit better than just screen, guest screen, just screen, and overlay screen. I need a producer. So what we're looking at here is all of the brackets. We're going to start with Epsilon and move our way up. But actually, there was a highlighted message. Let me get to it before it gets buried. It was us. Our captain's house got struck by lightning. What the hell are you talking about? Where did that come into play? What is, no, hold on, Reslider. What did you say? I forget where this, what the context for this is. Somebody's house got struck by lightning. That sucks. Squid Sushi's, preying on the downfall because your captain's house got struck by lightning. Dang, that sucks. I hope everybody's all right. Epsilon bracket, moving along from that. And this is the second time in Low Ink history that Epsilon bracket actually took place. Are we going to see more Epsilon brackets in the future? Stop signing up for Low Ink. There's too many of you guys. But we have to do an Epsilon bracket. We can't have teams go 4-2 and miss Sunday altogether. We have to have an Epsilon bracket. This term is just way too big. Some teams I want to shout out here. First off, Ewfish, as they typically do pretty well in this tournament, making their losers run this time around before getting eliminated in losers round 4. Nicely done to Ewfish. Fatal Parliament, another one of these edgy names that are just popping up all of a sudden. We've gone from having silly, stupid team names to having these aggressive, deadly, middle school level grudgeness team names. Fatal Parliament. And all of them are pretty good, apparently. Getting some 3 wins here, making a deep losers run before getting knocked out the same place that Oofish did. Nicely done there. Beating the Whip Rays. Whip Rays, I know firsthand, are a tough team. So it's a solid win for them there. The last team I want to shout out here before we get to the finals is going to be Hellbound, the team that actually got eliminated in Game 5 by the 2 teams that made Grand Finals. Hellbound, aren't we all, apparently? They went 3-3 the last time they played in Lowink. They did not qualify for Sunday. Nicely done. We'll glow up here. Hey, when we have a bracket for the teams that go 3-3, they get a chance to kind of flex right there. Nicely done, Hellbound. I'll see you there. The 2 teams that finished in the finals here. This is TikToked. So I'm assuming Tick, Tears of the Kingdom. And yes, there's the little match dispute. It's not going away. We stand that little match dispute. And the Ink Strikers. So as much as AirSign might not like this, I'm going to refer to this team as the AirSign pickup of the month because that is exactly what it is. Although there are other people that represent this team right here. Oddly enough, or maybe not oddly enough, I don't think this team actually qualified for Sunday at all, but I don't know how many teams dropped. I wasn't around during the dropping phase of the tournament, but I think this team got in because others dropped and made the best of it, going all the way here, actually winning out of the alpha side or the winner side of the bracket. I think I saw them tweet out that they had to wait a little bit. This is how double elim kind of goes sometimes. It sucks. But Pop Gun double elimination tournaments are faster than group into single elimination tournaments. Okay. Have fun explaining that to somebody who actually cares and actually knows that that's a load of bull crap. Ink Strikers just kind of curb stomped them here. 6 straight wins. It is what it is. Ink Strikers had a lot of time to kind of grind out things through losers bracket. Has survived around 5 against Hellbound. But TikTokers, I mean, they had a little bit of a grind right here, but I'm not going to sit here and say the break affected thing. I didn't watch anything in this set. I think Ink Strikers just a solid team all around. So who are the Ink Strikers? They finished in Gamma Bracket in February, which is the last time they played in Low Ink. Didn't do particularly well in Gamma Bracket, and they finished in 8th place in Little Squid League number 29. Are they still going to be eligible for Little Squid League? I don't know. I don't care. It's not my tournament. They do get to be the 2nd team ever to win Epsilon brackets, and that is pretty impressive. Nicely done, Ink Strikers. Who knocked Ink Strikers down into Hellbound did. So they had to play Hellbound twice. Played 10 games against Hellbound. Tied 5-5. Man, how good is Hellbound? Moving along. We're already over the hour mark, but we're going to keep talking here. Delta Bracket. First off, when I said there was a team I couldn't pronounce, it was this name. Capybara Hochadel. Did I just... Is that a spell? Did I just summon a demon in my living room? What's going on here? I listed these guys as Gamma Potential. Well, they didn't make Gamma, they made Delta, but they made the most of it here. They get the losers bracket run here. Diamond Rays and Friends, Painted Aura, Legacy with another kind of weird A mixed in there, and Ominous. They beat them as well. So nicely done to the Capybara Hochadel squad. Lethal Vengeance, another one of these. My goodness, this is such a deadly name they're coming out here. Had a good tournament run until they ran into the Outcast Ninjas, which is a tough team to face in any bracket. Whether it's Alpha or Epsilon, Outcast Ninjas is just the ruiner of winter bracket runs. And Lethal Vengeance ultimately getting eliminated in round 4 right here. Another team with a edgy name playing pretty well. Maybe that's the secret to these low inks. Last team I want to shout out before we get to the final 2 up top here. Huge run here for Origami Dragons. 1, 2, skip a few. 5 wins in losers bracket before running out of gas. Hell yeah, Origami Dragons. You guys have played in a lot of low inks, and I think this is the best they've ever done. I feel like they've made a beta bracket before, but this is probably the best Sunday they've ever had in this Delta bracket right here before Arcadia finally put them away. Now, Arcadia, committed the ultimate sin of pinging me on Twitter. And I found this out recently because I get pinged on Twitter a lot. I found out you can actually just leave conversations when people ping you. I'm going to do it every single time. You guys always do, hey, I need +3 for Loic, and then somebody will ping me on Twitter. I'll do it if Pop Gun allows me to. I'm just going to auto-leave all of those conversations and make you feel awkward about it. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I discovered that thing. Regardless, Arcadia was probably pointing that out because I said they were going to do really good. I put them in my top 10 because they popped off in beta bracket. They destroyed beta bracket last month, and teams that destroy beta bracket usually do pretty well. They just had a bad Saturday. It happens. Everyone had a bad Saturday, whether you quit 6-0 or not. You do what you're supposed to do. I love the fact that Arcadia played in this. A lot of teams in Arcadia's situation would have dropped from this as soon as Saturday ended. They actually played it all the way out. They beat the snot out of everybody, and good for them. Yes, is the beta championship a lot better than the Delta one? Yes. This is still steps in the right direction. And you got to play an Outcast Ninja team that's always tough. That's been in my top 10 a couple of months ago. That's usually better than Delta as well, who took care of business on the way here. These are the two teams that should be playing in the grand finals, and Arcadia dismissed them as they should. Nicely done to you guys. Play better on Saturday. Stop pinging me on Twitter. Weirdos. Gamma bracket. Man, we're not even halfway done. There's too many brackets here. Looking at Gamma bracket. Here's another team that I have problems with. Bamboozling Tongue. This has to be an actual team name. That's too much effort to put into a name to be just a pickup. They made it all the way to, grand finals. Why did I list them first? I usually don't talk about these teams. Fine, we'll do it right now. These guys get credit for making the long losers run, getting several wins along the way here, only dropping a couple of games, actually individual games. So not a lot of counter picks they got to make until they go up against Scarlet Knight. I guess we might as well just go backwards in order. The team that ended up winning this whole one. Scarlet Knight, actually Scarlet Fizzy. Where did I get Scarlet Knight from? So Scarlet Fizzy is the team that won this whole tournament, this whole bracket, so to speak. And I don't think they dropped many, if any, and I didn't mean to hit that button. And now I got to redo everything here. Many, if any, games at all. Drop 1 to Bamboozling Tongue, Combo 3-0, Starseekers 3-0. Oh, the mods. The Reddit mods gave them the run for their money, taking them to a game 5. What is up with... These are the best Reddit mods Reddit has ever produced ever, and they're in our tournament. How awesome is that? But still, Scarlet Fizzy was able to survive all of that. So who is Scarlet Fizzy? That is a fantastic question. It turns out they played in From the Ink Up, the most recent From the Ink Up, and got 3rd place in that. Shout out to our member of the Moon, who is our head TO for From the Ink Up, that is now part of Low Ink staff. I like that we have those crossovers from these tournaments. It helps make the verification a little bit easier, and we know who they are, because I otherwise would not have much information on who Scarlet Fizzy is. That is like a random name generator. An AI came up with the name for that team, Scarlet Fizzy. And somebody's in chat's going to tell me it's a very rare flower that grows in South America or something. Fine. I didn't know that. The rest of the teams I want to shout out here in Gamma brackets. First off, the Royal Succulents, and I know these are flowers. And again, huge glow up. I mentioned them having a great Saturday. They followed up with a monstrous Sunday in Gamma bracket, a very tough Gamma bracket. Last Wish 2-0. They beat the Reddit mods, swept them, swept Hydra. This team was in Alpha bracket last month. Coco Rave, I talked about how strongly Coco Rave did. They beat them as well. Royal Succulents is playing a huge step above from where they were when they were playing in Little Squid League as of late. Nicely done to them. And Star Streakers, another team that deserves a little bit of a shout out. I mentioned them a little bit earlier, and they get some being a new team. They got a couple of wins here. Toolbox, Quack on the Beach, before Scarlet Fizzy put them, and they fizzled out to the two teams that ultimately finished 1st and 2nd. So nicely done to Star Streakers. This is just the beginning of good things, I'm sure. And Combo also finished in 3rd place. The team that destroyed everybody in that March Low Ink without actually... the teams that finished in the top 2, I believe, both lost the Combo. Ever since then, Combo's been trying to regain their footing here, but they did a pretty good job and just got eliminated by the teams that finished first and second. Not a bad run for Combo. They got a lot of potential, though. They got a lot of high potential. They've showed that in the past. Beta bracket. Only one team dropped from beta bracket this time around. Usually when a team goes 0-2, even though there's still like a mathematical chance they could squeeze into alpha bracket at a 1-2, teams drop. But to my knowledge, 15 of these teams actually played this one out. The only two teams I really want to talk about here are Lost Inklings, because this is a fantastic tournament for them. They haven't played in low ink like ever, and now they're starting to play in 3 in a row, and they're getting better every single time. They knocked off Grizzco Workers Union, Ben Thick Brigade 3-0 before Black Komodo did them in, and then they ended up taking 4th place to Revelation, I should say, right here. So nicely done to Lost Inklings. Black Komodo, this is a good run for them as well. They really don't play that well in top 32. I think they did squeak into alpha bracket at one point. But it's good that they're actually getting some solid results on Sunday. There's a lot of value in these single limb beta brackets, and Black Komodo pushing them to the brink here in this Game 7 was awesome to see. But no team deserves higher recognition in beta bracket than the team that is sponsored by Octopi, the Conductor Cap Incorporated. Sponsored by Octopi. Nicely done to these guys. And they even got the little Octopi logo there in the corner. I've already talked about them enough, and we're running out of time here, so I'll just say congrats on winning beta bracket. Play again next month. Keep grinding other tournaments. There's a lot of expectation with you guys because we know how close you are with Octopi. You need to do what they couldn't do and win low ink. But Popgun, they're banned from low ink. Yeah, they're better. Sorry. Alpha brackets. And before we do anything, Tea Time made this bracket. Where is Tea Time's logo? I promised we'd look at Tea Time's logo, so we'll just do that real quick. I forget what bracket they made. They probably made beta. Here is the best logo in the entire tournament. Look at that. Just look at that. Damn. That's a good logo. That is a good logo. There's none better than that. Let's go back to look at Alpha Bracket and call it a day. The things I want to talk about here. First off, the Herbert Fan Club. And I was in VC for this one. I didn't commentate this one. I was in VC. And somebody said, who is Herbert? And I said, I know who Herbert is. Herbert is the former member of CIA that's retired from competitive Splatoon, who is married to Saint K. Herbert being a Nautilus main and being one of the better Nautilus mains that we had in this community. CIA won a little Squid League a couple of years ago. So that's who Herbert is. But no, turns out that is not the Herbert that the Herbert Fan Club is about. The Herbert Fan Club, as I won't show you the chat, but they showed it here in the chat. They found a dead rat on the side of the road and named it Herbert. This team is named after roadkill. They beat a scrappy Surf and Turf team. By the way, Surf and Turf lived up to their own hype that they were putting themselves on Twitter saying they deserved to be in the top 10. I think like they backed it up. Herbert Fan Club just a little bit better in that Game 5. This was a fantastic set, by the way. Nicely done, Falco and Saf, for commentating this one. Ikarioku. We got to talk about these guys. I was not expecting Ikarioku to do this good. I put them in my top 10 because they deserve to be there. But here is the difference. The glow up from Ikarioku from where they were when they first played low ink to where they're one game away and probably should put Secret Elixir away and make it into grand finals. It's the fact that Ikarioku plays in every damn tournament they can possibly do. They play in so many tournaments, and that's why the gap between Ikarioku and Secret Elixir a couple of months ago was super wide. But we don't see a Secret Elixir in a lot of other tournaments, but we do with Ikarioku. That's why the gap's closing. Ikarioku's grinding, and they've barely lost this Game 5 to the Dog Clan Fan Club team, who I guess I'll pull up the roster that we have. We'll talk about them. This is basically C10, a team that played in March last time. And these are the team that finished in third place. Oh, Harry, nicely done. I didn't see you down there as a sub. Hey, Biolag Paradise making representation on the podium. You'll love to see it. But Ikarioku, yes. Play in other tournaments, guys. Look what happens. If you want to get better at this game, look at this. Gamma Championship to 4th place out of 175 teams. Nicely done. The 2 teams that finished in grand finals. First off, we'll start with Secret Elixir, the team that finished in 2nd place. Their second place finish all time in low ink. There's only been one team ever to finish in 2nd place 2 times and then go on to win low ink. Only one team ever, and I forget what their name is off the top of my head. This was like way before. This was like back in 2019. If it was like Despair or something like that. But you're not going to see that often. I wonder what the future for Secret Elixir is going to be. They're clearly figured out something with that Kraken that everybody else is starting to be behind. But new maps are coming out. Kraken is going to be out going further. I think teams just don't know how to deal with that Kraken, and I feel like Bloodwalk did it initially, but they just started to figure things out. With that Hagglefish Rainmaker game, Bloodwalk was really able to just kind of suck Twig down to those sides, and the displacement of the Kraken was nowhere near as effective when they were doing that, and that just opened up the doors for everything else to kind of take place there for Bloodwalk to get back into the set. But like all these other teams, I feel like just don't know how to deal with it. And fair enough, it's a brand new special. You can't kill it. Your instincts. I was playing Custom Jet for a little bit, and every time I had a Kraken for like a month fight me, I would throw Toxic Mist at it. Just because, of course, Toxic Mist should slow it down. Toxic Mist should do something to it. And it never does, but maybe the 200th time I do it eventually will. But I wonder, as more teams start to get used to fighting that, and the fact that other teams constantly play in other tournaments to start grinding, is Secret Elixir going to hold this spot? I don't know. But that's just my general thoughts on that. I thought they played great. That final moment, that game 7 was fantastic. This entire set was fantastic. But I wonder, like, how far do you have to actually go with that Rainmaker to get the lead? And you got those little windows there. Do you just go for it? I wonder what happened if they just go for it. And again, it's impossible to make that call in the middle of the moment. But there's that little tiny window there with the Rainmaker where they're just kind of dancing around in that unequal corner. It's like, man, what happens if you just go for it? You'll never know. But it was still an exciting finish to what was an amazing set. For Bloodwalk, you barely got to know them, and they're already banned from low ink. Yes, the lag issue, we've already talked about that. If you want to hear my thoughts, scroll back the VOD about 40 minutes, 50 minutes now ago. It was a little bit before. The 2 teams that beat Bloodwalk this entire weekend, Secret Elixir beat them in the top 32 group, and C-Drive beat them. By the way, C-Drive, a team we're not talking about because they didn't make it far enough, clearly lived up to their hype of being a team that is considered to win this one. I really wish we streamed this set, but I know we've been streaming these teams for a while, and I wanted to highlight a different team. And I'm glad, because otherwise we would have just streamed Secret Elixir over and over and over again, so it kind of worked out that way. But this set probably was the set of Alpha Bracket before going for it. Man, Secret Elixir did not have an easy run through this Alpha Bracket at all, whereas Bloodwalk had the benefit of just destroying people and moving on. Bloodwalk is made up of some players that represent 8-bit in that Revenge Tour team. If you remember the team from like earlier this year that signed up as Revenge Tour, like, we're only playing this tournament because we're going to win it, and then they drop when they got to 3rd place. There's a couple of players from that as well. Mixed in with some other new players. What's going to happen with Bloodwalk going forward? I have no idea. I don't know if they're an actual team or just a pickup. Regardless, you're going to see those players continue to play going forward. Congratulations on winning low ink. No, I didn't put you in my top 10. Yet again, another month this year where somebody we've never heard of or never would have talked about comes out of nowhere and wins the low ink. It wasn't easy, though. They got a very memorable grand finals, and I'm excited that as crappy as everything was this whole weekend, we got to end on a very exciting note. So that was cool to see. Congratulations to Bloodwalk, and congratulations to everybody else that stuck it out this weekend. Can I finally play Tears of the Kingdom now? That's the only thing I want to do. I'm done. We're finished with this episode of the Popcast. We'll be back next week. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out at my socials below. Twitter, Mr._Popgun, Discord, Popgun, #5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun. We are going to raid Undershirt Man because that dude is awesome. I got to talk to him at Low Tide City, and we stand awesome people. Stay safe, get vaccinated, wear a mask when applicable, don't do anything stupid, and feel free to be critical of TOs. That's totally fair. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.